hole right there in that sky.
Beneath the surface of the historical conflicts in Jerusalem lies a profound and enigmatic darkness that remains largely misunderstood. These mysteries, deeply concealed within the pages of the Bible, are poised to be revealed as the time approaches. Ancient prophecies penned thousands of years ago promise to come to fruition in the days ahead. According to these prophecies, when the gates of heaven are opened, we will witness a grand and powerful phenomenon. The scene described by the prophets is not merely a supernatural event, but a sign of a comprehensive transformation in the fabric of the universe. The earth will quake, not only in a literal sense, but also symbolically, signaling the end of one era and the beginning of a new one. This event is more than just a conflict between nations or political powers. It represents a grander struggle occurring on a cosmic and spiritual level. The Bible's pages record not only historical narratives, but also profound predictions about the ultimate events. As these prophecies come to pass, we will see signs of the second coming of Jesus Christ and the end of the current world as we know it. Therefore, the wars in Jerusalem are not merely political battles, but manifestations of larger, supernatural events unfolding. The opening of the gates of heaven will mark not just the end of an era, but also the beginning of a new chapter in human history. Mysteries that remain beyond our current understanding will be unveiled, and the earth will tremble not only due to physical changes, but also because of the transition from an old world to a new one, where everything will be realigned according to the eternal will of God. The forces opposing God are orchestrating their schemes in the shadows, and the imminent arrival of Jesus Christ looms ever closer. The significance of these events for humanity is profound, as what is about to unfold has the potential to alter the course of history forever. As the plans of those in opposition to God become more apparent, they serve as a stark contrast to the divine intervention that is expected. The tension between these opposing forces is not merely a battle of ideologies or power, but represents a cosmic struggle with far-reaching implications. The arrival of Jesus Christ is anticipated as a turning point that will bring clarity and resolution to this struggle. This pivotal moment will signal the end of the current world order and the dawn of a new era. It promises not only a transformation of the physical world, but also a profound spiritual awakening. Humanity stands on the brink of a monumental shift that will redefine our understanding of existence and our place in the universe. The unfolding events will bring a dramatic change to the trajectory of human history. The ultimate confrontation between divine will and opposition will set the stage for a new chapter in which justice, peace, and righteousness are established. This transition will not only reshape the geopolitical landscape, but also reorient the spiritual and moral compass of humanity. What is approaching is not merely a series of dramatic events, but a fundamental transformation that will leave an indelible mark on the course of human history. As the divine plan unfolds, it will usher in a new era that redefines the relationship between humanity and the divine, ensuring that the legacy of this momentous period will resonate through eternity. Don't miss this moment when you have the chance to hold the key to understanding the destiny awaiting us. Join us on this extraordinary journey as we decode the secrets of the apocalypse and explore whether we are truly ready for what is to come. This is the time to embrace the challenge and delve deeper into the unfolding mysteries. Together, we will uncover prophetic signs, divine forecasts, and the spiritual battles we are about to face. In this process, we seek not only understanding, but also preparation for a future filled with both trials and opportunities. By participating in this journey, you will not only become part of a grand exploration, but also find the guidance and strength needed to confront the impending changes. We will walk through significant steps, gaining insight into our destiny and how we can prepare for the approaching events. Don't miss this chance to be part of this journey, as it could shape our future in ways we've never imagined. Together, we will find answers and prepare for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Subscribe to our channel so you're always the first to receive our latest videos, and don't forget to leave your amen in the comments section. The saying, "The world has 10 parts beauty, and Jerusalem has 9 of them. 10 parts wisdom, and Jerusalem has 9. 10 parts suffering, and Jerusalem endures 9, offers a comprehensive view of the diverse experiences of Jerusalem, from glory and wisdom to suffering and trials. Jerusalem is often celebrated as one of the most beautiful cities in the world, holding 9 parts of beauty out of 10. This statement reflects not only the physical allure of the city, but also its profound significance in religious and cultural contexts. The beauty of Jerusalem is manifest in its historical landmarks, sacred sites, and grand architectural structures such as the Temple Mount, the Western Wall, and the Dome of the Rock. These structures are not just symbols of grandeur, but also witnesses to millennia of history and cultural development. Jerusalem's beauty extends beyond its physical attributes to encompass its spiritual and historical significance, making it a revered destination for millions of pilgrims and visitors worldwide. In addition to its beauty, Jerusalem is noted for its remarkable wisdom, earning 9 parts of the world's 10 parts of wisdom. Throughout history, Jerusalem has been a vital center of intellectual and academic pursuit. It has hosted scholars, philosophers, and thinkers from various cultures and religions who have gathered to study, teach, and develop new ideas. The city's educational institutions and academic centers have contributed significantly to the body of human knowledge. Jerusalem's wisdom is reflected not only in its scholarly achievements, but also in its role in preserving and advancing religious and philosophical doctrines, highlighting the city's importance in shaping and sustaining intellectual and spiritual values over the centuries. However, the saying also acknowledges the immense suffering endured by Jerusalem, with the city bearing 9 parts of the world's 10 parts of suffering. This aspect of Jerusalem's experience reflects the harsh realities of its tumultuous history. The city has been the epicenter of numerous conflicts, wars, and political crises. Religious and political strife has led to periods of significant hardship, loss, and suffering for its inhabitants. Despite Jerusalem's enduring role as a center of peace and reverence, the city has faced substantial trials throughout its history, which are an integral part of its narrative. Thus, the saying provides a holistic perspective on Jerusalem, capturing its complex interplay of beauty, wisdom, and suffering. It emphasizes the city's pivotal role in various aspects of life, while also recognizing the profound challenges it has faced. Jerusalem remains a vibrant symbol of the rich tapestry of human history and culture, embodying both its grandeur and its trials. Jerusalem holds a crucial position in the Bible, regarded as the spiritual center of multiple religions and the site of many significant events. Particularly notable is its role in the event of Christ's second coming, often referred to as the end times. Jerusalem is not only the focal point of Jewish worship, but also central to pivotal events described in prophetic texts. The city is prophesied to be the stage for the dramatic return of Jesus Christ. According to biblical prophecies, Jerusalem will witness the glorious manifestation of Christ and serve as the starting point for a new era of peace, as outlined in the book of Revelation and other prophetic writings. Jerusalem plays a crucial role in the final events and the second coming of Jesus. The city is prominently featured in the prophetic books of Daniel, Ezekiel, and Revelation, highlighting its central role in the predictions of the end times. Books such as Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel predict that Jerusalem will be at the heart of the final events of the world, with nations gathering here to witness signs of salvation and the second coming of Christ. Thus, Jerusalem is not just a historical location, but a symbol of faith and hope in the Bible, intertwining the spiritual and the earthly aspects of the momentous events that are to unfold. Daniel 9:24-27 contains a profound prophecy about the future of the Jewish people and the city of Jerusalem, offering a detailed timeline of significant events that will impact both. 77s are decreed for your people and your holy city to finish transgression, to put an end to sin, to atone for wickedness, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy place. In this passage, Daniel prophesies that 77s, or 70 weeks of years, are appointed for the people of Israel and the holy city, Jerusalem. This period is designated to accomplish major spiritual objectives: to end transgression, eradicate sin, atone for wickedness, and establish everlasting righteousness. It also includes the sealing of vision and prophecy and the anointing of the most holy place, which refers to the temple. This period signifies a time of profound transformation and purification for Jerusalem and its people. Know and understand this. From the time the word goes out to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the Anointed One, the ruler, comes, there will be 7 sevens and 62 sevens. It will be rebuilt with streets and a trench, but in times of trouble. After the 62 sevens, the Anointed One will be put to death and will have nothing. Daniel explains that from the issuance of the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem until the arrival of the Anointed One, Messiah, there will be 7 weeks plus 62 weeks. Jerusalem will be rebuilt, including streets and a defensive trench, but this will occur during difficult times. After these 62 weeks, the Anointed One will be cut off, which refers to the Messiah's death and the subsequent sense of loss and despair. The people of the ruler who will come will destroy the city and the sanctuary. The end will come like a flood. War will continue until the end, and desolations have been decreed. He will confirm a covenant with many for 1 7, but in the middle of the 7, he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. And at the temple, he will set up an abomination that causes desolation until the end that is decreed is poured out on him. Finally, Daniel describes how the city and the sanctuary will be destroyed by the people of a future ruler. This ruler will come after the Anointed One and will bring devastation, which will continue until the end. He will establish a covenant with many for 1 week, but halfway through this week, he will cease offerings and sacrifices. He will also set up an abomination in the temple, leading to desolation until the decreed end comes upon him. This passage from Daniel 9:24-27 not only outlines a specific time frame, but also foretells crucial events related to the Messiah's coming, the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple, and the signs of the final end. These prophecies offer a deep insight into the future and highlight the central role of Jerusalem in religious and prophetic history. Ezekiel 38-39 presents a powerful prophecy about a final attack against Israel, including Jerusalem. In these chapters, Ezekiel describes a future invasion led by Gog from the land of Magog, who will gather nations and armies to assault the people of Israel. This prophecy outlines a dramatic and decisive confrontation between evil forces and divine power. Ezekiel 38 introduces Gog, a prominent leader from Magog, who will marshal a coalition of nations and armies to launch a large-scale invasion of Israel. The prophecy specifies that Gog will bring together a formidable alliance with the intent of seizing the assets and authority of the Israelite people. The invasion is depicted as a massive storm with overwhelming force aimed at Jerusalem, escalating the situation to a critical and urgent level. The depiction in this chapter emphasizes not only Gog's ambitions, but also the severe danger faced by the people of Israel. Gog and his allies will execute their attack with a vast and powerful army, transforming the conflict into a devastating catastrophe as evil forces begin their assault and destruction. However, Ezekiel 39 introduces a crucial turning point in the narrative. The prophecy reveals divine intervention, which will determine the outcome of the battle. God will directly confront Gog and his forces through a series of miraculous events. The invasion will lead to the complete annihilation of the attackers through divine acts such as natural disasters and supernatural upheavals. This intervention will not only rescue the people of Israel, but also affirm God's omnipotence and unconditional protection of his people. The prophecy continues by describing how the corpses of the invading armies will be left behind, requiring an extended period for burial and cleansing of the land. This underscores the scale of the devastation and the profound respect for divine intervention. God's ultimate victory will usher in a period of peace and restoration for Israel, reaffirming the covenant relationship between God and his people. Ezekiel 38-39 not only provides a vision of the decisive battle between evil forces and divine power, but also delivers a powerful message about God's protection and love for his people. The prophecy highlights the eventual triumph of God over opposition and the resulting restoration and understanding of God's sovereignty and faithfulness. In Revelation 16:16, we encounter a powerful and dramatic scene known as Armageddon, which is depicted as the climactic battlefield where nations will gather to confront the Lord. This passage describes a pivotal moment in the apocalyptic narrative, highlighting the ultimate confrontation between the forces of evil and divine authority. Armageddon, often interpreted as the final conflict in God's plan, centers around Jerusalem, underscoring the city's significant role in the end times. The term Armageddon itself is derived from the Hebrew Har Megiddo, meaning Mount of Megiddo, a site historically associated with ancient battles and strategic military significance. In the context of Revelation, however, Armageddon symbolizes not just a physical location, but the epicenter of a cosmic struggle between good and evil. This prophesied gathering of nations signifies a collective rebellion against the divine order, culminating in a showdown that will determine the ultimate fate of humanity in the world. Jerusalem's prominence in this prophecy highlights its central role in eschatological events. Throughout the Bible, Jerusalem is often portrayed as the spiritual and geographic center of God's dealings with humanity. In Revelation, this significance is amplified as the city becomes the focal point of the final battle. The idea of Armageddon as a showdown in or near Jerusalem aligns with the broader biblical theme of the city being a stage for pivotal divine interventions and revelations. The Battle of Armageddon is not merely a physical confrontation, but also a profound representation of the moral and spiritual reckoning. It is portrayed as the moment when the forces of darkness, led by the Antichrist and his allies, will come to their ultimate defeat. This dramatic conclusion to the conflict underscores the certainty of divine justice and the restoration of order. Revelation 16:16 emphasizes that this final confrontation will not only be a test of military might, but also a manifestation of divine sovereignty. The gathering at Armageddon is portrayed as a grand and inevitable culmination of history, where the ultimate victory of God will be established and the forces of evil will be decisively vanquished. This event marks the transition from a world marked by conflict and sin to a new era of divine righteousness and peace. Revelation 16:16 portrays Armageddon as the climax of the end times, with Jerusalem at its heart. This passage reinforces the city's role as the focal point of divine drama and the ultimate battleground where God's justice will prevail over the forces of evil. In the prophetic books, we often encounter visions of Jerusalem immersed in conflicts and wars. This is due to the sacredness of this land, where Christ was born, crucified, and resurrected. Jerusalem, with its rich and profound history, is not only a significant location for past events, but also a focal point for future events in the divine plan. The sacred nature of Jerusalem is highlighted through its central role in both historical and eschatological events. From ancient battles to apocalyptic conflicts, Jerusalem remains at the heart of God's plan. The city's sanctity is underscored by its involvement in the most pivotal events of Jesus Christ's life, including his birth, death, and resurrection. However, Jerusalem is not solely a place of conflict, but also one of hope and restoration. The prophetic vision presents Jerusalem as transitioning from a city marred by suffering and surrounded by adversarial forces to a renewed heavenly Jerusalem. This vision includes the transformation of the old beleaguered city into a new Jerusalem descending from heaven. This new Jerusalem, as described in the book of Revelation, represents a place where God will dwell with humanity in eternal peace. It is not just a symbol of restoration, but also of the fulfillment of God's redemptive plan. The new city will be a place of no war or suffering, only peace and justice. In this vision, Jerusalem will become the center of life and everlasting love, where God's presence brings absolute tranquility to all people. Thus, Jerusalem is not only a site of grand historical events, but also a beacon of the future, where every conflict and suffering will be replaced by eternal peace. This city is a symbol of both the trials and triumphs in God's plan, culminating in a new world where divine presence brings enduring harmony. Currently, Jerusalem remains a focal point of political and religious tensions. The city is marked by intense power struggles between various nations and religious groups, with conflicts over control of its sacred sites contributing to rising tensions. This ongoing strife highlights the city's sensitivity and significance on the global stage. Biblical prophecies concerning Jerusalem not only recount past events, but may also shed light on the city's current and future situation. These prophecies often suggest that the present circumstances of Jerusalem could be part of a larger divine plan and contribute to the fulfillment of religious predictions. According to these prophecies, current events may signal significant shifts in God's plan for this sacred city and reflect the culmination of long foretold religious forecasts. Jerusalem, one of the holiest cities in the world, has been at the heart of religious and sacred events for thousands of years. As a bridge between heaven and earth, Jerusalem holds immense significance for Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike, and it has become a place where many miracles and divine signs are witnessed, leaving believers both amazed and increasingly anxious. One of the most prominent sacred phenomena in Jerusalem is the Holy Fire during Holy Saturday at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. According to Christian tradition, each year on this day, a miraculous flame appears inside the tomb of Jesus and is passed outside by the priests. Thousands of people flock to Jerusalem from all over the world to witness this miracle. For many believers, this sacred fire is a living testament to God's presence and the resurrection of Jesus. However, this phenomenon also raises questions about its authenticity and true meaning, especially in a world increasingly dominated by science and skepticism. The Western Wall, one of the most sacred places for Jews, is also a frequent site of mysterious occurrences. Stories of tears flowing from the stone walls or flowers blooming unexpectedly have stirred deep emotions among the faithful. For many, these occurrences are seen as reminders from God and signs of divine intervention in the human world. However, the appearance of these signs often comes with unease and anxiety, as many believe they foreshadow impending upheaval, whether it be war or a major transformation in human history. Additionally, the special focus on the Third Temple is a significant factor amid the supernatural events in Jerusalem. Many Jewish and Christian believers think that the rebuilding of this temple will mark the beginning of a new era, and some even see it as a sign of the second coming of the Messiah. Dreams, visions, and prophecies from contemporary seers regarding the reconstruction of the temple have only heightened expectations and worries among the faithful. Every minor sign, from coincidental events to shifts in regional politics, is often interpreted as a piece of the larger puzzle concerning the future of Jerusalem and the world. However, the miracles and divine signs in Jerusalem not only bring about faith, but also generate anxiety and fear. Amidst the constant changes of the age, many wonder whether these are signs of an approaching apocalypse or simply natural phenomena exaggerated by human imagination. In a world full of turmoil and uncertainty, Jerusalem continues to stand as a center of miracles, a crossroads between heaven and earth, and a symbol of faith, hope, and the inexplicable anxieties that come with them. Jerusalem, a city with a rich and tumultuous history, is not only a religious center for Jews, Christians, and Muslims, but also a political and social hotspot. The divine and supernatural phenomena that occur in Jerusalem are often intertwined with political and social events, creating a complex relationship between faith and reality. In the current climate, where Jerusalem constantly faces tension, conflict, and ongoing upheavals, divine signs are viewed by many as reminders, warnings, or even divine interventions in the human world. This interplay not only reinforces religious beliefs, but also significantly impacts the political and social landscape of the city. In Jerusalem's tense political environment, divine phenomena are often interpreted by believers as warnings from God. For instance, the appearance of the Holy Fire on Holy Saturday at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is not just seen as a religious miracle, but also as a deeper indication of God's presence during difficult times. During periods of conflict, when tensions between Israel and Palestine escalate, believers often view such phenomena as reminders of the need for peace and unity among nations. Similarly, occurrences like tears flowing from the Western Wall or the appearance of a rainbow over the Temple Mount during sensitive moments are seen as warnings of divine retribution or reminders of divine will concerning human actions. These phenomena frequently coincide with major political events, such as failed peace talks, outbreaks of violence, or controversial decisions regarding the expansion of Jewish settlements, further reinforcing the belief that these are not mere coincidences. The potential rebuilding of the Third Temple is an extremely sensitive issue for both Jews and Muslims, as the current site is home to the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque, sacred places for Muslims. Prophecies and visions concerning the Third Temple are often seen by many Jews as signs of national restoration and the return of the Messiah. However, in the current political context, discussions about the Third Temple are not just religious, but could ignite political tensions and religious conflicts. Extremist Jewish groups often advocate for the rebuilding of the Third Temple as part of their political agenda, increasing the sensitivity of the area. This not only provokes opposition from Palestinians and the Islamic world, but also complicates peace negotiations. For many, the mention of the Third Temple is a prophecy not only of religious significance, but also a symbol of confrontation and political instability, with unpredictable consequences for the Middle East. Divine phenomena in Jerusalem affect not only political conditions, but also deeply influence the social psychology of its people. In the context of prolonged conflict and instability, many seek solace and hope in supernatural signs as a way to cope with daily anxieties and tensions. Stories of angelic interventions, miracles at the Western Wall, or signs appearing in the sky become sources of inspiration and comfort for those enduring hardship. However, these phenomena can also incite fear and even panic within society. When divine signs are interpreted as warnings of impending apocalypse or divine punishment, they can lead to extreme reactions, such as violent acts or the abandonment of reconciliation efforts. The appearance of divine phenomena often comes with a host of complex social responses, reflecting the deep tension and division within the community. Jerusalem has always been a focal point in peace negotiations between Israel and Palestine. Every divine phenomenon occurring there has the potential to impact this process, as they are often used by various sides to justify their views or actions. For example, supernatural events like the appearance of holy fire or prophetic dreams about the Third Temple are often interpreted in ways that support the positions of different religious and political groups, complicating matters further and making any peace efforts more challenging. The intersection of religion and politics means that divine phenomena in Jerusalem are not merely miraculous events, but carry messages that remind us of the close connection between faith, power, and humanity. In a city where every event, no matter how big or small, can become a flashpoint for conflict or a beacon of hope, divine signs continue to play a crucial role in shaping both the reality and the aspirations of those living in Jerusalem. According to the Bible, the Third Temple will be built during the Great Tribulation, a period of intense suffering and chaos preceding the second coming of Christ. In both Jewish and Christian traditions, the rebuilding of the Third Temple in Jerusalem is seen as a prophetic event that marks significant turning points in the salvation history of humanity. For many believers, the Third Temple is not just a physical structure, but a symbol of divine presence and direct intervention by God in the world. However, the Bible also warns that this temple will not be the work of those faithful to God. Instead, it will be built by the Antichrist, who will deceive many during this chaotic time. In the books of Daniel and Revelation, the Antichrist is described as the one who will restore the Third Temple in Jerusalem, but not to worship the true God. The Antichrist will use this temple to perform blasphemous rituals and proclaim himself as God, an act referred to in the Bible as the abomination of desolation, Daniel 9:27. According to these prophecies, the Third Temple will become a center of deceit and sacrilege, where the Antichrist will seek to control and manipulate the faith of humanity. The rebuilding of the Third Temple in Jerusalem is also seen as a precursor to the end times when God will intervene to judge the world. From a Christian perspective, the appearance of the Third Temple during the Great Tribulation is a clear sign that the time of the Antichrist is near, and afterward, Jesus Christ will return to defeat his enemies and establish God's kingdom on earth. This creates a deep sense of tension and anxiety among many believers, as they understand that the construction of the Third Temple is not a sign of peace, but the beginning of a period marked by great suffering and trials. While the rebuilding of the Third Temple may be considered part of a divine plan, many remain wary of the biblical prophecies surrounding it, knowing it will be linked to challenging events. This temple will be the site of crucial moments in salvation history, but will also be the stage for the rebellious and deceitful actions of the Antichrist. Therefore, despite the anticipation of a new era, there is a serious warning within these events about the times of tribulation and the need for steadfast faith. The rebuilding of the Third Temple is not merely a matter of physical or political significance, but a deeply spiritual event that signals the ultimate confrontation between good and evil, between God and the Antichrist. It serves as a reminder to believers of the necessity to remain vigilant and faithful, as the events surrounding the Third Temple underscore the coming of a period filled with challenges and deception. Thus, The construction of the third temple is a dual-edged sign. It heralds a future where divine intervention is imminent, but it also forewarns of the rise of the Antichrist in a time of unprecedented tribulation. It is a call for believers to stay true to their faith and to be mindful of the profound spiritual battle that lies ahead in the end times. Certainly, when the Antichrist appears, he will wield his power over these inherent benefits and claim that he will bring peace. The Israelites will be deceived into thinking that he is their true ally. They might even mistake him for their Messiah. Jesus prophesied this in John 5:43, where he said, "I have come in my Father's name, and you do not accept me. But if someone else comes in his own name, you will accept him." This verse underscores the peril of false messiahs and the potential for deception during the end times. Jesus warns that the Antichrist will come claiming to bring peace and solutions to long-standing issues, but his true intention will be to mislead and manipulate. The Israelites, desperate for peace and deliverance, might be seduced by his promises and fail to recognize him for who he truly is, a deceiver and imposter. The Antichrist's ability to present himself as a savior will be part of his strategy to gain the trust and support of the people. His claims of bringing peace will be particularly alluring in a time of great turmoil and conflict. This deception will be a crucial part of the end times narrative, as it will test the faith and discernment of many. Jesus' prophecy serves as a caution to remain vigilant and discerning, recognizing the true nature of the coming deception and not being swayed by false claims of peace or salvation. Before or during the Great Tribulation, the third temple is expected to be constructed, potentially as a result of a covenant between the Antichrist and the Jewish people. According to prophecies in the Bible, particularly in the books of Daniel and Revelation, the rebuilding of the third temple will occur during a period of intense suffering and turmoil, and may be linked to an agreement made by the Antichrist with the Jews. In Daniel 9:27 it is written, "He will confirm a covenant with many for one seven, but in the middle of the seven he will put an end to sacrifice and offering. And at the temple he will set up an abomination that causes desolation, until the end that is decreed is poured out on him." According to this prophecy, the Antichrist will establish a covenant with many, possibly including the Jewish people, to allow for the rebuilding of the third temple. This covenant would enable the Jews to perform their religious rituals at the newly constructed temple. However, midway through this period, the Antichrist will break the agreement, halt the sacrifices, and set up an abomination in the temple, which signifies his betrayal and deception. The construction of the third temple during this time could be part of the Antichrist's strategy to gain trust and support from the Jewish community. By allowing the temple to be built, he will create the appearance of being a peacemaker and a supporter of Jewish religious practices. However, his true intention is to deceive and manipulate, leading to a significant betrayal. Once the third temple is completed and religious ceremonies are underway, the Jews and other believers might view the agreement as a major step forward in the restoration of their religious practices. However, the breaking of the covenant and the establishment of the abomination within the temple will be a clear sign of deception and betrayal, marking the beginning of severe tribulation and the final intervention of God. Thus, the rebuilding of the third temple during the tribulation could be more than just a significant religious event. It could be part of the Antichrist plan to deceive and manipulate. This serves as a warning for believers to remain steadfast in their faith and discerning between truth and falsehood during the end times. They will only realize their folly when the Antichrist sits in the temple and proclaims himself as God. By then, it will be too late. The Antichrist will attempt to annihilate Israel, but God himself will fight for his chosen people and deliver them. It is only at this moment that Israel will acknowledge the Christ whom they had previously rejected and crucified. See Zechariah 12:10 through 13:1. This will mark the time of the Great Reformation for Israel as the people of God. In Zechariah 12:10 it is written, "And I will pour out on the house of David and the inhabitants of Jerusalem a spirit of grace and supplication. They will look on me, the one they have pierced, and they will mourn for him as one mourns for an only child, and grieve bitterly for him as one grieves for a firstborn son." This passage foretells a moment when Israel will come to a profound realization of their past mistake in rejecting Jesus Christ. In the midst of intense tribulation and near destruction, the Jewish people will turn their hearts towards God and recognize Jesus as the Messiah. This transformation will be accompanied by deep repentance and mourning, acknowledging the true nature of Christ and their past rejection of him. The Great Reformation for Israel will be a pivotal moment in salvation history, as the nation will be restored to its rightful place as the people of God. This period will see a profound spiritual awakening and renewal, as Israel comes to fully embrace its Messiah and fulfill the prophecies outlined in the Scriptures. The deliverance of Israel by God will be a testament to his faithfulness and a dramatic fulfillment of his promises to his people. In ancient biblical texts, a series of events leading to the return of Christ were foretold. Many people today view the current tensions in Jerusalem as part of the fulfillment of these prophecies. This belief influences not only how believers perceive the present, but also shapes how they prepare for the future, with an increasing anticipation of what may come. This understanding impacts how Christians interpret ongoing events in Jerusalem, seeing them as significant signs of prophetic fulfillment. The heightened awareness and expectation of impending events lead many believers to closely monitor developments in the city, convinced that these occurrences may signal substantial changes in the course of human history. Different interpretations of these prophecies exist. Some view current events as clear indications that the end times are approaching, while others see them as signs of a transitional phase within God's divine plan. These varying perspectives shape how religious communities prepare for the future. Believers may focus on strengthening their faith, engaging in religious activities, and mentally preparing for what they perceive as forthcoming challenges. This preparation often involves increased prayer, participation in discussions about prophecies, and even lifestyle changes to align with their expectations for the anticipated return of Christ. Ancient biblical prophecies about the return of Christ and related events have created an emotionally charged atmosphere and a sense of expectancy among believers. Current tensions in Jerusalem are seen as indicators of prophecy fulfillment, influencing not only how people view the present, but also how they prepare for the future. Prophecies related to Israel and Jerusalem continue to play a crucial role in shaping believers' understanding of global events. For many, the conflicts and tensions in Israel are not merely international political issues, but tangible manifestations of a larger spiritual struggle described in the Bible. This perspective arises from the belief that current events in Jerusalem might be part of a grander divine plan foretold in ancient prophecies. Believers often view the conflicts and tensions in Jerusalem as more than just local or political disputes. They see them as signs of a broader spiritual battle where forces of good and evil are at play. This understanding adds deeper significance to current events in the eyes of the faithful. They interpret these issues not only through a political lens, but also as indicators of the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. As a result, conflicts in Israel are seen as pivotal moments in an ongoing divine narrative, influencing how believers react and prepare for what may come. Thus, interpreting conflicts in Israel through a spiritual lens highlights the connection between global events and ancient prophecies. It underscores the notion that these events are not just political outcomes, but also reflections of a larger spiritual struggle affecting how people perceive and interpret the world around them. Jesus will come to open the path of salvation for everyone, as stated in the Bible. Whoever believes in God shall have eternal life. His return is not only a significant event in faith, but also the fulfillment of God's plan of redemption. On the final day, God will come, marking the end of the current era and the beginning of a new age of peace and justice. With hope in this future day, we joyfully await his coming. This day will signify the completion of time, when all things will be gathered under the authority of a single leader, Christ. Jesus' return will not only mark the end of history, but also the start of a new era, where God will reign over the entire universe with love and justice. We live with the belief and hope that on that final day, everything we are experiencing will be completed and transformed. It will be the time when God gathers all things in heaven and on earth under the rule of Christ, bringing eternal harmony and salvation to humanity. In this anticipation, we find joy and peace, trusting that ultimately all will be fulfilled according to God's perfect plan. May God be with you and me, here and now.